Almost from the onset of the coronavirus epidemic in the United States, New York has been described as the epicenter of the outbreak, and Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, the epicenter of the epicenter.
Obviously, Elmhurst Hospital in Queens is right now the epicenter within the epicenter.
Elmhurst Hospital is the epicenter of the epicenter.
And Elmhurst Hospital is really at the center of this crisis here in the city and in the country, with doctors desperately trying to keep up with the growing number of patients as supplies dwindle.
And you see the black body bags? You say, what's in there? It's Elmhurst Hospital? Must be supplies. It's not supplies, it's people.
Also from the beginning of the crisis, ventilators were described as essential life-saving equipment, initially in short supply.
You picked the 26,000 people who are going to die because you only sent 400 ventilators.
I knew that every person who needed a ventilator and didn't get one would die.
But why does New York, and Elmhurst in particular, appear to have been hit so much harder than other places in the United States? And were ventilators ever the right approach to treating COVID-19, especially once we realized that 60 to 90% of those vented do not survive? The experience and observations of nurse Erin seem to offer some answers to these pressing questions, while simultaneously providing frontline information about a number of other hot-button topics, including the disproportionate number of COVID deaths among Americans of color, the distortions surrounding do not resuscitate orders, the disregard for personal protective equipment standards, and the clustering of COVID positive with COVID negative patients, which she witnessed again and again, and the tremendous amount of nosocomial or hospital-acquired infections that resulted. Perhaps most urgently of all, she speaks of the therapies and protocols employed in her home state that did work. Erin was brought from Florida by a service funded by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. She spent almost a month at Elmhurst. What she saw there compelled her to become a reporter and whistleblower alongside her already extensive nursing duties. She made recordings, posted warnings on social media, and spoke through proxies about the nightmare conditions she witnessed. Erin was raised in Wisconsin and enlisted in the Army when she was 17, just before 9/11. She deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. Part of her duties involved overseeing aid disbursement and improvements to hospital facilities. While in country, she received the Army Commendation Medal for meritorious service and was wounded in combat. Erin eventually retired as a sergeant and became a civilian nurse in 2012. A mutual friend who was helping her make hidden camera recordings introduced us to Erin. After working a long shift at the hospital, she agreed to do an impromptu interview in her room at the Marriott Marquis overlooking Times Square. We encourage the viewer to leave aside their preconceptions about the nature of what is happening, to hear firsthand from an eyewitness who at great personal expense and without political prejudice of any kind now openly reports what she discovered in the hopes that the information will be put to good use to save lives. She began by telling us one of her most disturbing findings, that people who had repeatedly tested negative for COVID were being described as COVID confirmed.
Okay, so if you look close, I'm in my patient's chart. I am pulling up like their laboratory results. So if you look here, you'll see COVID-19 bioreference lab. Here are the test results. As you can see, 5/1/2020 at 17:16, not detected. They test for a second time, 5/4/2020 at 17:59, not detected. So both of those are negative. Scroll up to the top. This is my patient. They are on a vent and they are being called COVID-19 confirmed. Droplet in contact and eye protection.
So this person is droplet and eye COVID confirmed. Positive A, click, not detected. No resulting lab available. Oh, pretty good.
while Erin was using her hidden camera to document another chart showing a patient with negative test results who nonetheless was labeled COVID confirmed, another travel nurse entered the room. They began to discuss what Erin was seeing.
If it says bioreference,
That's
that means
here.
it's done here.
So not detected here, but
So
it's presumptive. Now, they're all...
They are detected. They're saying it's positive. Not detected.
But it's not
What does that
detected.
say? What does that mean?
So I
You
was...
said that they were vented immediately upon being brought in, is that?
Yeah, so the thing is they're coming in with difficulty breathing, and a lot of these patients are really coming in with anxiety because they're scared. And when I was back home, I was working in the ED out in the tents, and most people that were coming through with like symptoms of just, anxiety, or they're worried and they're breathing fast, and then they get all nervous. So this is how the people are like coming in. Now, I'm not saying that some of them don't have COVID. Like there are people that come in and they really do need help, not to the extent of a vent, but they need help. But these other people, like this person who wasn't COVID multiple times, and a lot of them are on either Medicaid or Medicare. They're poor. They're from, a lower class. We're at a public hospital. They need the funding. So take them. They take them. And they tell them pretty much that if they don't get on a vent, then they're probably not going to survive. But the reality is, if they get on that vent, the likelihood of them walking out the hospital is slim to none.
And can I ask you, what PEEP are they on, and is that being mandated or specified what the pressure is on the vent?
Here's the thing with this. So you don't have actual doctors that know critical care, ICU doctors on these floors. There's a dentist, and there are residents with these. So residents are essentially students, and they have no idea what they're doing. Like I had to police a resident because he wrote an order for me to run Versed, which is a medicine that you have to be very careful with because it can kill someone, at like quadruple the speed of what you should be running it at the dose. And had I not known that, then I would have easily killed the patient, and it would have been okay under their COVID standards. So everything is kind of a wash. Nobody's held accountable for anything, and these people that are in vents are essentially being these residents are like practicing their skills on them. So they're practicing central lines, they're practicing like invasive procedures that are really unnecessary.
What is the percentage of Black, Latino, white? What's the racial composition?
Hispanic and Black for the majority.
And what's the age range?
Asian.
And Asian. And what's the age range?
20-year-olds all the way up to 70, 80-year-olds. Very few 80-year-olds, but the majority of people, I would say, are in their 40s or 50s.
Wow. And what percentage of the people that are in there would you say actually have tested positive for COVID?
Half. Probably half.
But everyone is being treated as though...
The entire hospital is COVID. So half the hospital is not COVID, but they're on COVID floors.
So let me just ask you about nosocomial infection. So you're saying they're putting non-COVID or COVID rule out with definite COVID patients?
Yes.
So I was only wondering, because I was looking at all the patient rooms, and this patient is in with a non-COVID. I don't understand why they're doing that.
I know. There's 4 patients in a row here
Yeah.
on COVID. And this is supposed to be the COVID place.
Yeah.
Because 7th floor, they've shut it down.
That's
and
right.
cleaned it.
I'm confused.
And then they're going to have non-COVIDs there.
Yeah.
This is going to be the only COVID, so they shouldn't put any non-COVIDs here.
Well, that's what they've been doing.
They're banking on the fact that they'll get it because they're already immunocompromised. So and they'll put them in the same room. So there's double rooms. So you have a COVID with a non-COVID. They don't even care. We have enough rooms where they can be separated now because it's not as busy as it was, 4 weeks ago. But they don't care. They're just putting them together. I have that right now happening.
And like the guy over in,
I had two 26
yeah,
that were two negatives.
and they end up positive. Like the guy over in 29, I had him upstairs because I was on CCU before it.
Yeah.
And he came in with a stroke.
I know, that's what 26-1 was, a stroke.
And
Nothing
no
to do with
COVID.
Nothing to
And
do
now he's got COVID and he's on a vent.
Well, because we gave it to him here.
I don't know how this ended up being COVID central.
I know, but she literally came in with a broom and then she left like 5 minutes later. My patient had died of COVID and she didn't mop the floor. She was cleaning, getting prepared for my next patient, and she didn't mop the floor. I was like, that is the least.
That's a standard.
I didn't think I had to tell her that.
Right. People don't know how to properly wear their PPE. Let's go back to Ebola. Like when Ebola was here, people took that very seriously. You have a nurse in the room in all the head to toe PPE. This is Ebola. This is I'm going to compare it. And you have another nurse that's outside the room handing supplies. You know, the clean nurse and the dirty nurse, right? Going, and when they're taking their outfit off, one nurse is unzipping the back so she can take it out, walking out. They're not doing that here. We're wearing like our scrubs, and then we have maybe like a net top. Our pants are exposed. They're wearing booties over their shoes, but the booties are going room to room to room, and then people will wear them through the hospital.
So there's massive spread just through the improper use of the PPE.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Everyone, it looks good. It looks good. It looks like you're super safe, but in reality, it's ridiculous. So you'll go room to room. You'll maybe take that top off, put a new top on, but the rest of you is still exposed.
But I mean, why are they doing this?
I know,
you know?
I know. Suspected, and then there's like principal hospital. Does that mean like a nosocomial? Is that what that means?
Like we have in the United States, and we've had it for a while, a rapid test. It's 45 minutes. Do you have COVID? Don't you? They're not doing the rapid test here.
They're not.
No.
Okay. At Elmhurst, you've never seen them?
Nope, they don't do it. It's too expensive. They do 5 day. It's like 5 to 7 day turnaround. In the meantime, they admit them onto COVID units. So non-COVIDs, the rule-outs are going to COVID units and waiting for the results. Even though we have a rapid result, which is 45 minutes, and they're not doing it. No, not one. But
would you say it's too expensive? I mean, isn't this all getting charged to the fund anyway? I mean, why not do it? Why not? Are you saying that?
I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. I asked that doctor about it.
How come you guys don't do the rapid test here?
Because city place, I mean, it exists. It's just they don't have access to it. There's only limited supply, so if you have deep pockets, you get it first.
Oh, so money.
Most times it's money about everything, yes.
That's sad.
It's the reality.
I compare this hospital to a third world country. I've been in a third world country hospital in Iraq. The Iraq hospital is better than this one, and that says a lot. I've been there. I've been in both hospitals, and this is in the United States, and this hospital is treating low income, mostly people, and it almost makes me feel like they think these people are disposable, and they're not. They're people. You know, people are not disposable, you know, especially the ones that are struggling day in and day out, the hard workers, you know, like